This is New Zealand. Brian and 13 boys planned to sail the sea the next day, but the 14 boys couldn't wait. They went aboard the ship. They looked around the ship. It was quiet in the ship. They thought that there was no one on the ship. Jack Bryan's brother found the rope and untied it. Suddenly, the ship began to move. He was very scared. My God! He didn't know what to do. He shouted, "The ship is moving!" The another boy was sleeping on the ship. He woke up and rushed outside. "Help me! Help me!" he shouted, but there was no one around. What will happen to the 15 boys? For 1 month, the boys sailed the sea. One day it rained hard. The boys were too scared and they didn't know what to do. A boy shouted, "A reef, watch out! Crash!" The ship hit the reef and broke. A big wave hit the boys. They fell down and cried, "God, please help us." The next day, the sea was quiet. Brian woke up and he found that the waves took the ship to an island. "Look, we are alive. Heaven helped us." The 15 boys hugged each other. Brian and 3 other boys looked around the island. "Look, there is a cave." Danipen said, "I am scared. Let's not go in," said Jack. But Brian went into the cave and the other boys followed him. Suddenly Jack cried, "Ah, what are these?" "They are the bones of a man," said Danipen. "Look, here's a map of this island," said Brian. "Someone lived in this cave," said the other boy. "It won't be cold in this cave in winter. We found a place to live," said Brian. Soon winter came. They couldn't go hunting and pick fruit, so there was no food to eat. They were very hungry. Spring came. The boys picked fruit and caught animals, and they began to raise some animals. Brian caught 10 swallows and tied letters to their feet. The letters said, There are 15 boys on an island. We sailed to the east from New Zealand for 1 month. Please rescue us." Brian and some boys made the swallows fly away. One day, the 15 boys selected a letter. Danipen said, "I will become the leader." But Brian became the leader. "Thank you, I'll do my best," Brian said. Danipen was unhappy. Brian became a good leader, but Danipen hated to follow Brian's orders. I'm leaving this place," Danipen said. "Why are you leaving?" asked Brian. "I don't want to take orders from you." Danipen and 3 other boys left the island and went to the east side of the island. They found a small cave there. "Let's live here," Danipen said. Danipen and the 3 boys went to the beach. "Look, there is a ship." 2 men are lying down near the ship. "I think that they are dead." The boys were scared. They went back to the small cave. The next day they went to the beach again, but there was no one there. The other boys wanted to go back home. A boy said, "Let's make a big kite. People can see the kite. That's a great idea." They made a big kite and flew it. That day they found a woman on the beach. Her name was Kate. She told the boys about Wollstone. "Wollstone killed many people on our ship. He's a bad man. He must be on this island." Brian thought that Wollstone was very dangerous. Brian and his brother Jack went to look for Danny Penn and the three boys. Brian and Jack came to a lake. Danny Penn cried, "Help me, help me!" A big leopard was about to attack Danny Penn. Brian rushed to the leopard. He stabbed the leopard's neck with his knife. The leopard fell to the ground. "Brian, you saved my life," said Danny Penn. Danny Penn said, Brian told the four boys about Wilson. The boys went back to their cave together. The boys at the cave greeted Danny Penn and the three boys. All the boys were scared because of Wilson. "Where is Wilson? We must find him," Brian said. "Let's ride the big kite and find him." "Who will ride the kite?" a boy asked. "I have something to tell you. I untied the ship's rope. I wanted to tell you, but I was too scared. I'm so sorry. I will ride the kite," Jack said. The other boys hugged him. Jack rode the kite. It flew high into the sky. He could see Wilson across the lake. The strong wind blew and the string of the kite broke. Jack jumped into the lake. Then he swam back to the boys. "Wilson and his men are across the lake." "Help me, help me!" a man shouted outside the door at night. Kate saw him through a hole in the door. She said, "That's Evans." Evans said, "I ran away from Wilson. This island is near Chile." The boys were happy to hear this. "Let's go to Chile. We can go home." The next day, Wilson and his men followed Evans' footprints to the cave. They rushed into the cave. They hit Evans. Brian and Danny Penn helped Evans. One of the bad men stabbed Danny Penn with a knife. And Wilson stabbed Evans with his knife. Then all the other boys rushed to Wilson and his men. The boys hid and tied them. The boys put them in the cave and locked the door. The boys were worried about Danny Penn and Evans. Kate and the boys took care of them. But Evans died. Everyone was very sad. But Danny Penn became well. The 15 boys made a small boat together and they left the island for Chile. A boy shouted, "Look, a ship!" The people on the ship rescued the boys. The ship was going from Chile to Australia. After 2 years at sea, the boys came home.